Hello everybody, this is Niclas Huschenbeth and today I would like to do a book review of this book. It's called 100 Endgames You Must Know, written by Grandmaster Jesus de Avila, and it says vital lessons for every chess player, and I absolutely agree, because the endgame is a very important part of the game, but often underestimated or understudied. People don't like it so much. I don't know exactly why. They rather like to study openings, but let me tell you one thing. You need to have your endgame knowledge, because in some of your games you will definitely get into your endgame and then you might reach one of those theoretical endgame positions discussed in this book, and you need to know how to play, because otherwise you will definitely miss out on points. So what is this book about? De Avila discusses what he considers to be the 100 most frequent and most important theoretical endgame positions. What do I mean by theoretical endgame positions? So it's very little pieces on the board, just king, pawn against king, for example. Do you know about opposition? Do you know about key squares? Or let's say it's rook and pawn against rook. Do you know about the Fieldo position, Vancouver position, Lucchina position, and so on? So this is all discussed in this book. So let me tell you what I really like about it. It is all very clear and concise. So the author sets up rules for the different endgames, and he gives summaries and conclusions of the main ideas. So once he's done with one particular endgame, and there are 100 of them, right? Then he gives you some rules to remember, and this makes it easier also to understand what's happening. What I also like is there are a lot of diagrams, so you can actually follow along without having to play through it on the board, even though, of course, it would be better if you play through it over the board, as you then remember it better. And lastly, there are a lot of exercises, actually. There's a final test where you can test your knowledge and see if you can apply what you learned. All right? So let me also tell you what I'm kind of missing. To me, there are some endgames in there which don't need to be in there. I've never encountered them in my own practice, and I don't consider them to be that important, whereas other endgames are missing. For example, I'm missing a section about queen endgames. Queen pawn against queen. Those are notoriously difficult endgames, and it would be nice to have some rules and to know what to do a little bit in these positions, even though of course they're very difficult. Also, what I was missing were some more discussions of rook against knight, or rook against bishop, with some pawns on the board. This is also left out in this book. There's a section at the end with some fortresses, and you can see which positions are a draw and which position are not, but there's not so much discussion, and there's not so much going into the depth of why these positions are draw. Also, I said there are exercises in the book, that's great, but to me there weren't enough exercise. I would have loved to do more, and especially to have this practical aspect, because this is what you need to do in your own games. You need to be able in the important moment to say, okay, I want to convert into one of these theoretical endgames, so exchange some pieces and aim for it, or I don't. And such exercise would have been really helpful and useful. There's some, like I said, but to me could have been more. So let me give you an example of one of the positions in the book. So we'll switch over here, and I want to tell you what I meant by these rules. So here we see an opposite colored bishop endgame, and this is a draw. But let me read out to you what the author says about it. So I just have to find the page. And he says, here's the rule. If the defending bishop, so this is the defending bishop, can restrain both pawns along the same diagonal with support from the king, the ending is drawn, no matter the distance between the pawns. So what does that mean? This bishop can control both these pawns because they're on the same diagonal, but he needs the help of the king. If this pawn was able to advance, let's say to f5, then the bishop is not controlling the pawns anymore, and it would be winning for white. But here white cannot make progress. The king and the bishop are keeping the pawns in bay, and even though black is down 2 pawns, this is a draw, and the author gives this variation here. King comes back, this is important, so the king doesn't enter on e6. And then the king tries to come over here, but now black just waits. Now white might at some point want to play c7, not right now though, but okay, black can still just go king d8, and once again stopping the pawn from advancing, and this is a draw. So this is quite a simple example of a rule, but I want to give you an example and show you what I meant by this if it wasn't clear. Alright, so this is pretty much my book review, but let me say a few more words. Well, first of all, this is my favorite endgame book, and even though there was some criticism, I definitely recommend it to everybody who wants to bring their endgame play to the next level, because, like I said, it can really make the difference in some of your games if you reach one of these endgames that you know what to do. And there are actually different ways to get this book. It's available in German and English, and also, I found out today, it's available on Chessable. So let me see if I can bring this up, if I'm able to. Yes, there we go. So this chessable.com, a website co-founded by my fellow YouTuber John Bartholomew, International Master, and they also offer the book. You can buy it on there, and what's nice about that is that you can actually do it interactively. So you can play out the positions on Chessable and then play it against the computer or play it against the lines that the author gives, and that way it's a good way to practice. And I think on Chessable they also have this system where you're reminded if you didn't get one right and you have to practice it again later on. So this is a very good way to study this as well, but of course different people have different preferences, so whatever suits you best. But like I said, wholeheartedly recommend this book. If you only read one book about endgames, it should be this one. So if you want to improve your endgames, then you should get it. Alright, this was my book review. Let me know how you liked it. Let me know if you have any questions, and also if there are other books that I should review in the future. See you next time. Bye bye guys.